What's going on, guys? King Shrats here, back in the video on the channel, and today we went back to one of my tried and true staples. Yes, we made chopped cheese for like the 19th time in the last 2 months, but I don't know, man. I really love them. So of course you can see we've got a couple of things we've got to review. So if you are digging the content, you want to see more of these cooking style videos where there's absolutely no cooking other than the footage I will show you and a little bit of the reviews, new stuff that comes out, like, subscribe, thumbs up, and all that cringy YouTube stuff. So let me take you through the chopped cheeses real quick. I'm going to take a bite of these before I get into reviews because, well, I have to. So let me tell you what I did. Of course, we started off with our onions, which we grilled off in the cast iron pan. Of course, we seasoned them. You can see the seasoning. It's just salt, pepper, and I had some Cajun seasoning to them. Let those caramelize a little bit. At the same time, we threw some ground beef on the other side and let that brown off. Once that started to get nice and cooked a little bit, we chopped that up, seasoned it again, added everything to the mixture, everything to the pool. We also added some diced tomatoes and some hot pepper relish to that. Let that cook down. When it started to cook, then we added our cheese to that. Of course, after that, we chopped it up, put more cheese on top of that, added that mixture to our buns with our mayo, a little bit more cheese, of course, on the top. Toasted that off again, 350, about 5 minutes till it got nice and, you know how I like my buns. That sounds terrible, but that is where you have it. I want to just grab one of these buns. I can't help the innuendos. I know, I'm sorry. All right, so there it is in all of its splendor. The chopped cheese with a giant onion hanging out of the side. I just know. Sometimes, you just know. Damn. I'm sorry. Oh man, we're fine. I love the melted cheese on the inside. It's like my favorite part. Of course, the hot pepper relish adds a little bit of spice to it. And I don't know why I love sauteed onions all of a sudden, but man, it's a vibe. Make sure you have good bread when you make this. It's very important. Okay. Is that melty? You feel me? Also, I want to dig into these. I just opened this bag just because, you know, I have fat fingers. It takes me forever. Lay's dropped these. The dude at 7-Eleven actually said he got these like the night before, and I found them in the morning. So we have, this seems to be the flavor of the month. Lime and sea salt Lay's. Limited time flavor. I just had lime and sea salt Tostitos. They're probably going to taste the same. They definitely smell the same. Lightly shake the bag. You always gotta get a little bit of seasoning on it. We're gonna toast some of these. Here's what we got. Alright, here, you move over, talk to your friends. We're gonna throw some Lay's right up in here. You know what they look like? Sour cream and onion chips. Don't they not? Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, the flavor profile is identical to the Tostitos I had last week. I'm not complaining. But I'm gonna be honest about this too. First of all, second of all, they do taste good. I'm just not the biggest fan of just like regular potato chips. I like my chips to be a little bit thicker. So it works better for me on the tortilla chip, the Tostitos, just because the chip has a little more crunch, a little more bite to it. Lay's chips are, I like them, but they're not my favorite regular Lay's chips. I like kettle cooked, you know, like this, the thicky. Yeah, still gonna eat them though. I don't really care. But the taste is crazy. I don't know. Lime and sea salt, just with that citrus and a little bit of salty, it just goes together. And I noticed that a lot of these like food companies, the trends are what they are. Meaning, if one does one, they seem to roll out with every other thing. I'm waiting for like a lime and sea salt ice cream. Like, that'd be really weird. Might work. Those are a good chip though. And I know some people want to see the Twinkies, so I'm going to get in those first. I'm not going to hold y'all. New Twinkies. Lemonade stand. It looks like there's pink lemonade in the inside. Pink lemonade, I mean, tastes like lemonade. For some reason, I prefer pink lemonade because, I don't know. I don't have a legitimate reason. Maybe it's just a color thing, and it just makes me feel like it's not lemonade, but it tastes exactly the same. But Twinkies are something that I ate a lot of as a child. I tend to say that a lot, and yes, because I was a chubby kid, I did eat a lot of things like this. But individually wrapped, there's a box. I think there's like 6 in the box, but I gave them away so I wouldn't like overeat them, because I know I'll probably like them. If they taste anything like pink lemonade inside of a little sponge cake, I'll eat it. It ain't gonna matter. So let me just open this bad boy up. That's the top of the sponge cake. What are you saying? Should we break it down? Let's break it down. Yeah, look at that. That looks good. All right. First bite. Oh. I think I might like these better than regular Twinkies. There's just something like refreshing about lemon. Yeah, the pink lemonade. Cup thick one. A lot of filling on the inside too, which is perfect. I shouldn't have gave these away. There's 10 in the box. I gave away 9. Look, I'm not like a huge Twinkies guy, but those are some of the better ones that come out. They come out with some, I'll be honest, they come out with some trash in the past. I remember they had like a, first of all, like pumpkin, they have pumpkin spice Twinkies. And they had, what was it called? That was really bad. Peppermint. It tasted like I was eating Colgate inside of a Twinkie. These are a W in my opinion. If you like pink lemonade, even if you're not the biggest Twinkie fan, I think you'll like those. Let's get back into these chopped cheeses though. All right, Twinkie, you've been real. Sorry, I should have saved you. I take the L on that one. Okay, chopped cheese time now. I need that crunch from the chip. Hold on a second. Why do I know some of y'all be probably yelling at me for not doing this. It makes me laugh. Sometimes I do read the comments of people who are like, man, I was gonna get so mad if you didn't dip this and that and the third. And I think that's hilarious, man. Like, I just wonder, like, are you watching it the same way that you would like watch a movie where, you know, you watch like a horror movie and you're like, what are you doing? Get out of the room. And you're like, man, what are you doing? It just makes me think, like, is that how the vibe is sometimes? Because I don't watch these videos. I've always said that. Let me see, I got the chippies in there now. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't do that. But I don't watch my own videos. I watch it minimally just to like splice in things when that's the only editing I really do. Is when you see me edit in like the shots of like the cooking or like the actual food. Other than that, there's no editing involved. And I know that sounds kind of weird because like who wouldn't watch their own videos just to kind of check, but two biggest reasons. One, I told you before, I don't script. Everything I talk is just straight off the top of my head, and I do talk a lot. Not the biggest one for me, to be honest. You didn't catch what I was saying. I don't like the sound of me eating. It really like makes me cringe. If you watch the seafood one I did, which was like over the weekend, I barely talked in it. So if I would listen to that, I would genuinely like never make a seafood video again. Which, I don't know if I'm ever going to make a seafood video again, judging by the comments that a lot of you said, which I don't even want to repeat. I was laughing though, like I know it's all kind of in good fun. Somebody said that it sounded like they were watching The Hub. If you know The Hub, I can't say that, but listen. Just listen. I liked it, okay? When I was editing that video, I had to just make like a couple of splices in, and I happened to go upon the part of me eating the corn. Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know what the heck. I don't know. was good. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even have, I have nothing but, I don't know if embarrassed is the right word, but I'm just like, bro, really? Bro, I'm not even joking. I wish I should have had myself because filming me editing it, because the whole time I'm going, bro, really, bro? Like, that's how you go? Okay. Like, I'm not even joking. I got nothing, man. I was a little like, I texted a couple of my friends, and this is not a joke either. And I played them like a 5-second clip, and I was like, hey. I needed to, because I was reluctant to post it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's how, like, I was like, come on now about it. And I sent them the clip, and I don't know, like, I was like, yo, is this bad? And they were like, they said there's no good way to eat corn. It is what it is, man. I feel like people are gonna start sending me freaking lobster tails. I don't know. But it was just one of those things that I was like really in the mood for it. And that lemon butter, like in the sauce with the... People on Instagram kept saying it didn't look seasoned. I'm like, bro, it's swimming in garlic lemon butter. Like, what do you want it to be? And I think people are just used to like the other kinds of seafood bowls, more like the Cajun. But that wasn't a seafood boil. You get what I'm saying? There is a difference. With a seafood boil, things kind of go like in a broth. This one is just like steamed. It's different in that sense. So I get where they're coming from, but I think it was more just like it's cooked differently. Because it was seasoned. But I think people are used to like the red, you know, the Cajun version. Which is good. I love Cajun seafood, but don't get twisted. But sometimes with seafood, I know a lot of you don't eat seafood, but maybe you can relate to this. Sometimes when it comes to like really good food, like high quality steak, I'm gonna say seafood again, you don't want a lot of seasoning on it because you want to taste the freshness of it. Some people like steamed vegetables or fresh vegetables that are minimally seasoned for the same reason. I feel like sometimes a little bit goes far with stuff like, especially seafood, like fresh catch. If you're like at like a shore type of place, I'm talking like New Jersey and up. Maryland tends to be like more like the Old Bay type of stuff. But when you start going up towards Maine, it's like they don't really season it like crazy. It's seasoned, but they want you to taste like the fresh catch. Does that make sense? It's not like chicken, where if you don't season chicken, it tastes like nothing. I've seen some people unseasoned chicken. I don't know how y'all do that, but when it comes to seafood, a lot of places, if you go to like a fancier type of restaurant and you order like lobster tails, there's not a lot going on at like seafood places. Now, if you go to like a Cajun type of place, or if you go to, you get what I'm saying. Y'all understand. I know y'all hear me. Okay. Got to have a little free time over the weekend too, which is cool. I usually don't have time to like watch a ton of TV, even though I have like subscriptions to everything. But I got to watch Mortal Kombat yesterday. I know you probably, like, even if you're not like a fan of video games, you probably heard about it because on HBO Max, and it's like kind of getting a little buzz to it. I think I would have liked it more if I was younger, because it was still fresh in my mind. I played a lot of Mortal Kombat as a kid, and I'm old enough to remember when Mortal Kombat came out, like the first Mortal Kombat. So that was awesome. The movie was good. If you're a fan of that kind of stuff, I think it's worth a watch. It's definitely better than the 1995 version because it's more true to like what the genre was. For people who don't play video games, for people who didn't grow up in the 90s like I did, and you don't know what Mortal Kombat is, I'll give you a quick rundown. It was a fighting game, similar to like Street Fighter or like the present day, like, you're probably not familiar with stuff like Tekken. Look, you have a character, there's another character on the screen, and you fight each other. Now, Mortal Kombat was... Now, you're talking about a time where Nintendo was the dominant force in gaming. The other systems weren't really coming of age yet. Sega Genesis was like the first real competitor to Nintendo. This is before PlayStation even existed. Or Xbox. It's funny because now those two are below Sony and of course Microsoft, but back then it was Nintendo and like whatever. And then when Sega Genesis came out, it finally had a competitor. You're talking about 8-bit video games, like 12 to 16-bit video games, like, and one with graphics. It was more about gameplay. And anyway, Nintendo's games were very, like, kid-friendly. Like, there was no fighting games, let alone violence. Like, the most violence you saw was, like, Zelda, which, like, you know, like, you, like, had a little sword and you, like, had some monsters. But there was no, like, actual violence being shown in the game. Or, like, Mario stepping on a mushroom. So Mortal Kombat comes out. And I remember this like it was yesterday. Maybe not yesterday, but it was so controversial because it was the first game that was really popular, that was really graphic. I mean, you're talking, you know, you probably heard something like the finish him, fatality, you know, this is original Mortal Kombat, so all that other extra stuff that's out now, but it was the first game that was like, you know, like blood. Like, there was blood in the game. There was a huge deal. There was blood in the game. Imagine that. Like, y'all play Grand Theft Auto? Yeah, Grand Theft Auto wasn't out yet. So this was like the first of its kind. Where you fight until it's over. Over. And when you won the match, the character you beat would literally be standing there like this. and it said... And it would say, finish him, and you could do a move called a fatality, which, like, okay. It was graphic. I mean, like, Sub-Zero, which is one of my favorite characters back then, like, someone's head. You feel me? Like, you can look all this stuff up. I'm not trying to get demonetized, but back then it was like, oh my god, the world, like, it was a huge problem. So much that Nintendo took the blood out of the game, and it was, like, just gray air that came out when you hit people. Sega did not, so we all bought Sega. And I know that, you know, people talk about like censoring stuff like that because kids don't need to see it. So let me tell you how I found about Mortal Kombat. It's a true story. Me, my dad, and my mom went to like a flea market, like department store type of place. This was before the days of Walmart, so like there were like more mom and pop type of stuff. And we went in there. Back then, most stores, you know, pretty much all of them, had 1 or 2 arcades in the front of the store. So, when we walked in, there was a Street Fighter, and right next to it was Mortal Kombat. Never heard of the game. And there's these 2 kids playing against each other. And, my dad played video games with me as a kid from time to time. Like, he never could beat me, but, you know, like, it was just like, you know, dads and sons play video games. Anyway, so, we're watching these 2 kids fight in the game. And the one kid wins, and we hear it, finish him. The guy's standing like this. And these kids must have been playing it for a while because they knew all the moves. Which, like, back then, like, you had to, like, look this stuff up because there was no internet. And so you had to, like, figure it out. You know, you might be able to find it something, like, it wasn't like now where you can just, like, go on the internet and find all the moves. Or some of these fighting games now, they actually just, like, you press pause and they give you the moves. Like, what's the point of that? That's stupid. Anyway, I'm old. He's standing there like this, and the guy does a fatality where... can I say this on here? Whatever. He rips the guy's arms off and beats him with them. And most parents were, I guess my parents were, like, very just, like, cool about stuff like that. They didn't censor me. I watched scary movies as a kid. I watched, you know, the hood movies as a kid, like, graphic stuff. So we're watching this, me and my dad looks at me, he looks back at the screen, he looks at me again, and he starts cracking up laughing. I'll never forget that. He's like, it's hysterical to him. And I'm like, what? So anyway, we went in the store and bought the game. He took it home that day and we were playing it. And a lot of my friends couldn't get him. Their parents wouldn't let them get the game. You couldn't buy it as a kid. That game is a big reason why games have ratings now. It was one of the first games to be, like, rated mature. A lot of people don't know where that started, but, like, back in, like, the Nintendo games, like, there was no ratings on games. Like, you just played a game. It was a video game. No one cared. After that, they started having to make games with, like, 18 plus and stuff like that. That was one of the first, if not the first. I might be mistaken, but I know it was, like, one of the, like, the reasons why they did it. But I will never tell someone how to raise their kids. I don't have any. But personally, I like what my parents did. They exposed me to everything. One of the first movies I remember watching with my dad was Child's Play, Chucky. And, you know, in the 90s, hood movies were like a big thing. You know, like Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, stuff like that. Which, to a kid, very graphic. You know, it doesn't hold back on, like, the rawness of it. New Jack City came out in 1991, stuff like that. And we watched that kind of stuff. And my parents would just be like, listen, this is not what you do. This is not right. This is in the world. This exists, but this is why it's wrong. And they would explain to me why things were wrong. I mean, I'm 2, 3, 4, 5 years old at this point, you know, 95, 96. And they would just explain that stuff to me, you know, and you don't go around telling your friends about stuff like this and stuff like that. And that's how I was raised. I know that every parenting is different, but I think it was good for me. A lot of kids, and I'm sure people, you guys at this point, most of you are old enough to have a childhood. You found out, so a lot of my friends found out about stuff secondhand. And I think that kind of, like, changes your mind because your parents are shielding you from it. And you're like, wait, but what is this? Wait, but what is this? You know what I'm saying? I found out stuff from my parents. And I think it was just better for me because I was better equipped to handle real world crap. Again, I'm not going to tell anybody how to raise your children. But I think for me it was just good. And I think that if I'm fortunate enough to have children one day, that I will do the same. I feel like I had good parents, and I feel like they raised me to respect people and to understand, you know, the world, and that it's not all good stuff out there. And a lot of my friends who were more sheltered, they ended up rebelling more when they got of age, almost as like they were mad. Some of my friends couldn't watch MTV. And I know some of you, like the younger crowd, might not know this, but MTV back then is a lot different than MTV right now. It was like music television, which is like outlandish now because I don't even think they show music videos anymore. But it was a different time. You're talking about the days before YouTube and the internet being what it is now, where when you wanted to watch music videos, you watched MTV, BET, stuff like that. I don't even know if they show music videos anymore, but they used to have shows back then called, like, well, The Real World was on too, so there was some reality TV, and there was like a show called like The Grind, which was like people dancing to music, but it was like beach stuff. So like people were in like bikinis. So what? But in my house, it was more so what. But my friends couldn't watch MTV, which I was like, what? You can't? And when they got older, they were the ones that were like, you know, doing more like the partying and all that. I didn't do all that stuff in high school. I didn't really start like acting up. Excuse my allergies too. This weather in here in New Jersey right now, it's like 50 degrees one day, it's 70 the next, and it's 30 the next, and it's driving my sinuses crazy. But they like did a lot. I didn't do any of that partying stuff in high school. I don't think I even started like partying in general until like the end of my senior year. And again, look, listen, you young kid, like don't be in a rush to get grown. Like don't be in a rush to do all that stuff. It's not. I'm glad my parents didn't let me do all that stuff. They were pretty strict with me. I couldn't go out in high school. I couldn't go to parties in high school and all that stuff. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, I know it's hard when you're younger to understand stuff because you're in a rush to be an adult. You know, I hear 15-year-olds and 18-year-olds being like, I can't wait to live on my own. And like, listen, just coming from a person who lived, like, understands where you're coming from. And I know you don't listen to older people because I didn't listen to older people, but I'm still going to say it because every older person has to say it because at least they said it. Don't be in a rush to get old, man. Don't be in a rush to get grown. Like, be a teenager. Like, yeah, I'm not telling you to, like, sit in your house and watch TV all day. You know, make friends and all that good stuff, but don't do all that stuff that grown people do. Just don't do it yet. You're not there yet. And I know it sounds crazy, but you're not there yet. And nothing good ever comes from it. Okay? Like, you watch Teen Mom and tell my parents had like me and my sister when they were teenagers. Like, yeah, we turned out okay, but they weren't ready. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just being real. Like, I'm just keeping it a buck. Like, I was fortunate to have two parents that still, but that's not how the story goes for most. You know, a lot of times with teen pregnancies, like it, and then they don't talk no more, and now you don't want that, and that's what happens when you start doing all that stuff as a younger person. So just don't rush to be an adult. Like, you don't need the over 21 activities and over 18 activities. Like, there's a reason they have age restrictions on that stuff. I don't want to get all preachy and all that good stuff, but just don't. Like, just wait. You're not missing anything. Trust me. Like, you're gonna have a lot of, just look, all right? Y'all know what I'm saying. Just chill out. Be doing all that stuff. Y'all ain't old yet. And this grown folk stuff, and I don't even want to do half the stuff because being an adult means you got to start paying bills and stuff. And y'all ain't ready for that stuff. Y'all got third period gym class. Like, go sit down and listen to your teachers and wait. All right. Anyway, I'm tired of preaching. So chopped cheeses were a banger. The Twinkies were a banger. These are good, but just get the Tostitos. They're doper. That's my opinion. Anyway, it's been your boy King Shrats. I just want to make a quick meal. I've had, you know, a lot of calories over the weekend and butter, garlic, all that stuff. Don't watch that video. Anyways, but you're working shots. You know what I'm gonna say. Gotta slow myself down. I love y'all, man. The hand signs, they made it to YouTube.